driver of the day of Bamenda 2 were executed in cold blood, which is reminiscent of Guza. After the duo had escaped and the 4 female companions were like released, we saw on video the 2 men who were left were shot in cold blood.
A quick one.
So yes, so that is why I am saying,
just not to confuse our video,
do not be surprised. I can't be clear, but do not be surprised that there are persons within the establishment who eat government food in the day and drink amber wine in the evening. Do not be surprised. I am not saying it happens, but it is a possibility. And we are in a situation, Mabel, where no hypothesis should be eliminated. Put all the cards on the table and look at things from every angle. And let me tell you that in politics, tous les moyens sont acceptables. What am I saying? The parliamentarian for Nkambe, Honorable Ngarajira, who is an entrepreneur, a contractor, money magnet, with his vibrancy to show how Nkambe has nothing to do with Amber and it is pro-government and he is the kingmaker of peace in Nkambe, do not be surprised that he is creating enemies for himself within people of his own system who would want to show another side of events in order to discredit him. Or you find people even within the system who think that but Nkambe is too quiet for our liking and security budgets are not coming our way as they ought to come. Let me tell you that I read a book that even in the period of the Cameroon Bakassi war with Nigeria, permit me say that soldiers of some other country, not Cameroon, were provoking deadly explosions to give the impression to the government that we need more funding. This war, we need funding. And do not be surprised that wars are sponsored by merchants of war who have stakes to gain. What am I saying, Mabel? The case in Nkambe, that's why I heard Musa say nobody has claimed responsibility. And so whatever thing we are saying here is speculations. Whatever thing we are saying here is speculations. And because we do not know who is, in as much as we might say, if you act like an Amber, then you are an Amber.
Don't you think that
there are non-Ambers who act like Amber? Just as we have seen cases, Cyril, we have seen cases where Amber fighters dress like military men in military attire, disguised like military, and commit atrocities in order to tarnish the reputation
so in order
to fool the population that they are military until when you now fall into their trap. That's what I'm saying. Every hypothesis should be examined without.
Mr. Sama, are you trying to work on eggshells? Are you trying to work on eggshells? Is it?
I really do not want to, because there are no eggshells for me to work on. What I'm simply saying, I'm working on hard rocks here, and I'm just being frank here, that the situation is so difficult for us to know who is responsible, unless the 3 that the governor said have been arrested can come on air and confess that we are Amber fighters under General this, who were sponsored by this person, then we can now be sure.
We hear a group of persons who allegedly send a communique asking people to stay indoors for 1 week ahead of the Youth Day event. And on the set day, there is an explosion. Who is fingers to be pointed to? Or should we still sugarcoat or try to disguise or try to be hypocritic enough to believe that we do not know perpetrators or unmax the realities on ground?
Mabel, you use a word in your question, hypocritic, which is a word I've been hearing more and more. And before I send out a word of condolence of my party, I want to react to that word first. Most Cameroonians who at this point are talking of hypocritic are people who were distracted in the beginning and thought that, oh, no, ça va passer. And 7 years after, we are still into the deep shit. And I'm saying that le réveil serait brutal. Meaning, the moment they stop distracting themselves
and do the
needful, it will be terrible.
You're speaking in riddles, in essence.
This crisis, all of us are responsible.
At the
level. Not that there's somebody who is a little bit. Even these people who come and they're talking. No. Every debt that is dropping every day is our responsibility.
So is everybody
I want
picking
to follow
arms?
up,
Is everybody picking arms, Mr.
because
Siwi?
at
If you say
the early
everybody,
hours, let me come now, Mabel.
no, answer the
War has
question.
strategy. Have you not read the 33 laws of war?
Mr. Siwi, if you say everybody is responsible, then that mama in the village will be asking.
She is responsible.
How
Which
so?
kind of language? Let me start by saying that the people of the Cameroon Renaissance movement, at the early hour of this atrocity, took heart with the peace-loving people of Cambe and called on the necessary power that be, the government of Mr. Biya, and told them that from the onset of the crisis, our approach has been to a peaceful dialogue. But that anytime somebody died in the course of the war, we heartfully sympathize with the bereaved family and wish that the perpetrators should be brought to book and sanctioned according to the law. So to the peace-loving people of Cambe and the entire Northwest, not leaving out the people of Southwest that equally witnessed such a situation a few weeks ago, we sincerely want to send out our word of condolence and wish that very soon this dark page of our history will be turned. Now, back to the question you were putting before me: how responsible are we, and why should I be fingerprinting one mama in the village? The problem with that mama and the hypocrisy you're talking about is that we think that we can waive ideological problem. We think that we can sugarcoat something that is deeply rooted in our history. We think that we can buy off our consciences because we have impoverished the whole land. No, there are people that you cannot buy them up. There are people who are sacrificial lamb. There are people that you better kill them. They are not giving up. And those are the people who are holding back this crisis. And it lives in their mind. It lives with them. It is part of their raison d'etre for still be on earth. And those are the last people. They don't need to be they can just be a handful, 100. Just like less than 500 people are holding Cameroon for 42 years and we are crying every day. That's the same thing that happened with this kind of asymmetric war. So, my point of view tonight is that for us now, for our personal security, when God have blessed you and you have small money, you have your welfare, be careful with the kind of neighbor you keep around you. It's not everything that you come and you are showcasing to everybody thinking that they will be smiling with you. Because when you have a neighbor who envy what you have, they will do everything to put your own joy at jeopardy. Because they think that somehow your joy is hiding their misery.
I don't know how this is connected to the political program, but then again, I want to ask you this very openly and transparently. In this war, who is the target? Who ought to be the target, and why are civilians the target?
Civilian came to be the target because of this nonchalant attitude Cameroonians have. Have you ever witnessed a situation in the house when you people don't have money, you and your madam? In short, a situation maybe there is a house rent problem, or there is a problem. You people are at the point of eviction. They want to hear that she sponsored one of her younger brother to travel abroad. What will be your reaction? It goes beyond betrayal. The Cameroonian government tells you that people come on air and say there is no Anglophone crisis. Why did they start telling in 2017 in the first place?
But that was a long time ago. And
long time.
And they have repented from the statement.
They have repented.
Even those who called us dogs, they have repented.
See, you don't fool adults. You organize a major national monologue, call people, distribute the money. What do you expect them to do? Not to take the money? No, they will take. Because first of all, it's their money. It's their money that you are collecting through tax. But the truth is that they know exactly what needs to be done. And it means that you should give them federated states. Give them priority over their resources. I just heard that Sonara had a new general manager. Is this somebody from the Northwest or the Southwest? The answer is no. I heard people saying that it's not from the Northwest, it's from Adamawa. So, I want us to be conscious of our consequences. Mabel, you will not know the deep nature of politics if you don't have a platform where you have people who are at the helm of power, how they protect it. That means before I used to think that it was an imagination, but there are people online, I don't know whether they are paid to do that job. Their role is to rubbish everything you say that come out of the common. Like, you want, for example, there's a show online of BAMs. When you are a Bamile kid, like, they don't want to catch your, that means they don't want to hear. Have you heard things like come to the German president and say pay? So people who hold that ideology, no, it's not a joke. They are online, and online today is a real platform to map out sentiment. So just as like the Anglophone guys, I told that most people I read from online crying for the Anglophone crisis or petitioning are even in the diaspora, Anglophone from the northwest and the southwest, but in the diaspora. They are the two people I see them on daily basis.
With this atrocity,
but those back home, they keep playing on and off. On and off. Today they are talking good, tomorrow based on their interests they change. Those are the real perpetrators. Those are the real people who are worsening the situation. Why? Because it also suffices that they have some benefit and they change their tongue, which is not going to last for long. I hear some people trumpeting how they have discussed with minister, they have had a gathering, I quit all those NGO. I left all those platforms because anything that you are going to give me money and stop me from thinking, better keep your money.
Okay, thank you. But with the ongoing situation in Cambe, has your supposed and alleged self-imposed president-elect written any official
No,
statement?
I'm not even mentioned. You see, those are questions that are insult to the intelligence of Cameroonian. Suppose self-alleged. Have I even mentioned President Elu here? No.
No, but
So you are joining them. And when I hear the language, the imperial language, I will react violently. And they will say me that I'm not polite. I did not come to beg for politeness here, but please, when you use the imperial language, be ready for the retaliation.
okay, so has he dropped any official statement regarding
The one I dropped, did you not appreciate it? No, we should face fuck. The word I drop, I'm here talking as Mr. Cyril, representative of MRC. I drop a word, you appreciated in the platform we share together. If I'm not in Tech Cameroonian, the peace loving people of Southwest are listening to you tonight. We should appreciate the little one
Mr.
we have.
Cyril, that is not even answering the question. Did Mr. Kamto give, because we
His
see
emissary drop a word and you saw it.
Who is?
I drop a word, you saw it.
Okay, Mr. Cyril.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Musa, we hear people thinking that international bodies are very silent. Does it mean that they are corporate to all what is happening in the Anglophone, structure? Because the international body has quite been silent. They are not lambasting on the situations that is happening on ground zero, most to be more precise as they should. What do you have to say?
Before I answer your question, first of all, I want to distance myself from Mr. Cyril, who said everybody is responsible for the killing of this young innocent girl and for the explosion. I want to distance myself
For the crisis entirely.
Now you asked me a very good question. First of all, what you need to understand about the international community, first of all, you always go where you have interest. Like, look at what is happening in Gaza today, what is happening in Ukraine today. Why is it that America, with thousands upon thousands of miles away, why is America involved? So, international community that have shown us that you always participate when you have your interest. And this is the politics, and this is how they always play. Remember that there are a lot of calls when we were at the peak of this crisis that they should repatriate some of the separatist fighters that were in those countries. And finally, they did not do so. Why did they not do so? People were thinking that the United Nations will come and refuse the certificate that were written, or the GC result that was written in
As it was
2015.
rumored.
Yes, it was not done. So why are they silent? There are a lot of things that are happening, but you don't see them coming in. Even with these happenings, only few condemn it. You know, as I mentioned, you don't always go to where you don't benefit, and that is the international politics. You always put your shoe where you know that you benefit from there and come out well. And that's why you see most of these Western countries that are very attached to Middle East. Did you ask your question why? What is there in Middle East that they are always attached to? They have a lot of oil. America and the Western powers. You know, I really love the statement that he mentioned. Oil is everything there. When the transport sector is affected, everything, all your economy is affected. And that's why you see Saudi today is very attached to America. Other countries like Qatar and the rest, they are very attached because America knows that they will benefit from Saudi, and Saudi equally will benefit from buying arms from America. So the question is, what would they benefit from Cameroon, especially in the northwest and southwest region? Sometimes very difficult. That's why you see this crisis is among the forgotten crises that we have in the world today. People don't care what is happening. It always happens like that. And finally, it's a lesson for us Cameroonians that we should realize that we are the one to solve this crisis.
All right. Thank you. But besides international bodies, let us also, feast our gaze on other influential people and personalities in the country who actually gave their little cent. We had the president-elect who came out in a strong tweet to condemn what happened, and we also have the Wimbum Cultural Development Association who came out to denounce what happened in their village, and we also have a lot of personal and group bodies who come out to write against these atrocities. We also have the Southwest Human Rights Watch who also came out strongly to denounce this. But in all of these outings, we see people calling, mentioning unidentified gunmen. Well, before getting to that, do you think we must wait for a happening like this before we start writing and condemning, and after a couple of days we sweep everything and all the paint under the carpet and we wait for another one? Because no matter how we love it or not, Mr. Sama here said something very pertinent. He said when Kumba happened, he knew that another Kumba episode was going to happen. When Gabu happened, he knew another Gabu was going to happen. And it is just a chain, and it's not even going to stop anytime soon. This is not the last that is going to happen. So why do we use our tweets to resonate and cry against these atrocities, but after a while we sweep it under the rug and we face life again, awaiting the next episode?
Yes, Mabe, first of all, peace is a process. You cannot achieve peace immediately. It's a process, step by step. Today we are here, tomorrow we are there. And honestly, we must say that there should be a genuine way of resolving this crisis. At times when you sit and, as you mentioned, something happens and we just condemn, and at the end we forget about it, it becomes a very big problem. All of us, we know, sometimes when you stand in a distance and you are in your left side, I am in my right side, all of us, we don't want to release even a bit to solve the problem. It becomes very challenging. For this crisis to be resolved, first of all, we have to acknowledge that there is a problem. You cannot solve something that you don't acknowledge that there is a problem. Yes. And I believe that even the head of state said there were some challenges along the way, acknowledging that there was a problem. Even when he was interviewed, when he went to France, that they were trying to hijack maybe everything and put them under this thing. They want to make the country as one with the French system. So those are some of the challenges that when you recognize that there's a problem somewhere, you have to do an effort.
Right.
First of all, we cannot say that effort has not been done unless we want to put ourselves.
So are you talking about the Grand National Dialogue?
It's not only that one. Mabe, when this thing started, you can realize that ministers went to Baminda to sit
For a peace crusade tour.
Yes, of course. And even above that level, there are a lot of effort even going just at the base level to see how they can resolve this crisis. But remember that there is one thing, you cannot stand at extreme end with your idea you don't want to release, and I stand in my own side, I don't want to release, and we hope that we'll meet at the center. It becomes very big problem.
It becomes a very big problem, Mr. Sama. When evil prevail because men refuse to take action. Do you concur with that? In the case of the not so, who is the evil, who is the man, who is denying to take action?
I might not really align with that slogan, that evil prevails when good men decide to be complacent or they don't want to act. Let me go back to the question you asked Musa before I come back to my own question, or something that Musa said earlier. As much as there's an element of truth in what he said, that our authorities or Cameroonians are not proactive, and that is why they didn't read the signs when on the eve of the 11th of when 1 week before or so the duo of Bamenda 2 and his entourage were kidnapped, and those were already the signals and the signs that there might be danger lurking around the corners of Nkambe. And unfortunately, maybe administrators had slept for too long on their safe laurels, knowing that Nkambe is impenetrable, that Nkambe could not be penetrated, and they slept for too long and were not vigilant, and they were not proactive. But again, as I said, but do they have the means to fully secure Nkambe? Especially when you know that everything is done manually, and you are talking about a large terrain of farmland and hills and mountains and valleys where people can easily walk across on foot as farmers or as grazers or as businessmen, and it will be difficult for security forces to actually be 100% effective in vigilance. But again, that is where now we bring the issue of community policing and community involvement.
The way the whole thing was
Yes.
orchestrated, Sam, an individual giving a little back to a small
That now
teenager.
Is it the right story? Because we have heard
Yes.
at least 3 versions
Good.
of such.
That is why I am saying that unless there is an official statement, some of which are even not very authentic, but what we know is that there is now going to be a greater sense of awareness and alertness with the
within
population.
the community.
Because given that we had explosions around here, around Boya, now it is difficult for any woman in the market, even your customer, your most trusted customer, to come and say, can I keep my bag here? And you accept. The first thing that comes to your mind is, what is inside the bag? Because everybody now is security conscious. But because it had never happened in Nkambe, people had lost that alertness, that consciousness. They had lost it. And so I'm sure this one is now going to be like a wake-up call to the people now to be more alert. And that is where community involvement comes in. And that is where there is this saying that if you see something, say something. If you see something unusual, say it. If you see an unusual person around you, say it. If you see an unusual action. Let me tell you that last year I traveled to Bangem, and the bike man who ferried me from Melon to Bangem told me that we have chased out Amber from Bangem, and wherever we see a stranger, even you as I'm carrying you, if we stop, if we get to the Janamari checkpoint and they are not there, and I carry you to your destination, to the house where you are going to, as I leave you there, I go and I inform either our president or the security operative that I carry a stranger from Melon and I dropped him in this house. That is community involvement. So that as you see a stranger, you report. That is where now you see community involvement in the act. I mean, in the whole network of intelligence and security and renseignement. Let me tell you, last year, even though there was effort to suppress it, last year we hear that there was an explosion at the grandstand in Boya. Shortly after festivities had ended. This year, do you know what was done? Anybody who was sitting on the grandstand was screamed. And that crowd that used to be around the grandstand was not. Everybody was shipped up to the filling station and right down, so that they could be able to make sure that they have surveyed and surveillance the whole area. That is because they learned from their mistake of last year, where they thought everything was okay. That is what will happen to the people of Gambia now. That it means that we are no longer as invincible as we thought we were. These people can really penetrate us. And unless it happens, that is why I have said, maybe we are still a long way to go from this. I mean, from seeing the end of this crisis. By the time the chiefs of FACO marched around Boya, putting an end to ghost towns, have the ghosts left the town? The ghosts are still around us. And that's why 2 Mondays ago, the ghost struck around Central Market. Which means that I tied there with Cyril. This thing has nothing to do with spirit. It is not spiritual. It is human effort and human actions. If we take upon ourselves to end it, it will end. If we keep playing the hypocrisy that you say, it will continue. Yeah. And let me tell you that keep about all the barefooted marches that people are marching and praying and the empty condemnations on Twitter. It takes the roots of the Anglophone crisis are in human mistakes, and the solution are in human conscious decisions. When people sit to say we want to do the right and want to do the needful, as we continue playing hide and seek and the ostrich game, the killings will come. There will be another Campbell. I said there will be another Gusa. There will be another Central Market. There will be another Ngarubu. I listened to Musa say that the Anglophone crisis has been underreported or unreported, because even within our own country there are atrocities that have been committed by the military and the Amber Boys that have never been reported. I tell you that on a certain 18th of June in my village in Tibet, 15 persons were shot by military forces who either suspected them to have been Amber Boys. We have the records and the names, but it was never reported on national TV like Ngarubu. But it happened in my own village with 15 persons shot in cold blood. And as long as we continue playing hypocrisy and hide and seek, it will continue. All these issues of condemnations on Twitter, on WhatsApp, ends there. It is not. The war did not start on Twitter. It started because of our own human mistakes. And until we correct those mistakes, the killings will continue.
You have helped me ushered us into the next talking point, which is, evaluating women in Cambe who came out in their numbers barefoot to march. Mr. Siri, while you gather momentum to, add your little cent on the particular scenario, let me read out a few contributions. Constantine, all the way from Oliko, says this is another Hollywood film acting. They will go to the DDR center and pick out 3 of those guys and sacrifice them to cover up for their security lapses. Ask yourself these questions. Why are the military quick in picking up our perpetrators of crime than preventing them? Thank you so much for the reaction.
Let me just come in here. I think that accusation levied against the military is not a very polite one, especially given what they are going through. Let me tell you that as long as this crisis perpetuates, I have nothing against the military. I have more a problem with the politicians who command the military, because the military can only take instructions from the politicians. And so the military, I actually have compassion for them, for the efforts they make to even make sure that we have the relative peace and security that we have in our towns.
Okay. This one says, I'm writing all the way from Bamenda. 3 persons were arrested. Are the people arrested the real perpetrators? Good program, Madame the Moderator. Thank you so much. Ngobe George says, good program. Your panelists are very, very intelligent. I need their numbers. Oh, you need the numbers of all 3. Thank you so much. Ronik says, we need what an official statement from the governor. Which of the governors? You mean that of the Northwest regions? Thank you. Betama Romano says, Cambe people and the entire Southern Cameroon's people should demand transparency from the colonial administrators regarding the tragic events. Concrete evidence like photos is needed to identify culprits rather than attacking local civilians as ambers. There is suspicious falling on military men. A comprehensive investigation and disclosure of findings are crucial for justice and community safety. Witty Eric says, I'm writing for Muya. Hope the cause of this shall one day be arrested for the return of peace. Thank you so much for this. Zolo says, I'm writing from Malingo. This is a good program. I'm enjoying every bit of it. Thank you. And so many others who are actually following up the program. Mr. Cyril, your mothers in Cambe actually came out in their numbers. This time they did not go bare like what happened in other places. But I mean, there is a great traditional significance for mothers to go bare feet, denouncing this kind of crucial act. Even though Mr. Sama, loosely borrowing from his word, says or thinks that it is of less impact. The impact lies within us. If we want to stop it, we're going to stop it. But what do you make of all of this drama that has been staged?
I think decrying atrocity should not have reserve, and whatever format it takes should be appreciated. I will start appreciation with those who are following the program. I can see some young people. That is the only thing that will melt my mind tonight, because when I hear young people commenting on program like this, I have a feeling that at least some are, or not all, are into gambling and praying. Secondly, for the mothers, if I go by the picture Mr. Sama painted as somebody who know the community where the crisis, where the atrocity took place, they are infringing support to the order of 1982 championed by Mr. Biapol. I would like to have some reserve on the drama that they may have acted in the name of the crime. It reminds me what happened sometime here in Boya at the level of the grandstand, where we had, in those days they used to call the Fako women something they would wear and even shave their head. We have seen terrible things in this crisis, Mabel, and all those things just sum into taking picture and sending to their donors in the diaspora and receive some money. A money which I have no problem with, but we somehow hide our fragility, our inability to transcend ideological problem. We must, as a people, collectively stand for each other in pains, in hunger, and refuse bribe. If you are crying and you are crying because after you go and take a 10,000 somewhere, you have sold your children. That's what I'm trying to say. People have put energy into this crisis just to go and pick award somewhere, Mabel. And award has become finally a reason why people are struggling. Not that we are holding our hands and fighting plus agent of any part who might have interest in the perpetration of the war. Mr. Saibu here told us, even though you did not give his portfolio throughout the program, I think he's a scholar. He told us that the international community only go where they are interested. if these mothers in the land, by their background, have been supporting the CPDM, the Party of the Flame, whose champion is clocking 91 today, it means that for me they are part of the problem. They are part of the problem. They don't see any problem with Mr. Biya dying in power. They don't see any problem with Mr. Biya meeting, suffering on English-speaking Cameroonian. They have been fine. They have been fine. Feeding on the same money that is being collected to poor Cameroonian. How are these new deaths different from the other one who have died? Did they stood up when Ebekwa happened? Did they stood up when Kumba massacre happened? Now is their turn that death has visited them. Why are we not having solidarity from other women, including the Fako drama that we had here some years back? That's what I'm saying, that it's not a collective move. That's what I'm telling you, that it's a drama that is painted and we're looking for camera to go and film. And I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be part of that. The cry is genuine. The people of Norwest have an identity, and Norwest and Southwest have an identity. And you might minimize the resources that are in this zone, but minimizing means that you might neglect what oil can do to a region. Southwest is blessed with oil. Maybe Norwest have that climatic advantage. So the people want federation. Give them the federation, and that's what Kamto has on the table, my dear friend. Kamto has federation. But how is Kamto coming into the picture if you don't give him a leeway?
We are running
2025 is at the corner, Mabe. We have few months, less than 25 months. Less than 25. What are our chances? And I'm telling you that even if we cannot make it in 2025, we will keep educating Cameroonians until they move from theory to reality.
Thank you so much. From theory to reality. Mr. Sama, we are dragging the curtains of the program. Of course, every beautiful thing has a start and a finish. We have taken these people from the high moments, the low moments, the midway moments, and now we are getting onto a blissful conclusion. What do you have to say before we wave the program a goodbye?
Yes, I think Cyril has been a bit more insensitive in his last contribution, and for him to almost like glorify that because the people of Nkambe have been more pro-government, and so it's they are part of the problem of what is happening. I think that's a bit insensitive. We shouldn't be so fast. In as much as we are politicians, we shouldn't politicize or want to pick political gains from every situation, even the misfortune of others. I think, and I still stand by my initial position that the march of the mothers of Nkambe is just symbolic, and it has no practical impact on the events on the ground and the effects. It is just symbolic, just like the willing of Southwest and Northwest women who made themselves the whalers, whaling publicly in Bamenda and in Buea, and at the end it did not produce any palpable effects on the ground because their atrocities instead increased in crescendo. It is not very different from the marches of the chiefs of Fako who marched with their traditional societies to chase away the spirit of ghost towns, but the ghosts are still actively implanted in the towns, as we see on Mondays. It is not different from the chiefs and traditional rulers of Manu, who said they were cleansing the lands of Manfe. And so to me it's just symbolic, and it's just more of symbolism without any effective practical effect on the issues of the ground. Again, as I said, it takes more than one or even more than two to tangle, and if we must see an end to this crisis, it has to do with a collective resolve by everybody to acknowledge our errors and speak the gospel of truth and take practical actions. That's why I said, as it has happened in Bangem and in Tombe, the philosophy behind it is not. That's where I differ from my governor, and I followed the governor of the region and the senator for the Southwest, who said we must terrorize the terrorists. To me, rather, I take a more reserved position and urge people, if you see something, say something. Be your own community police, be your own village police, be your own municipal police, be your own informant. If you see something strange, say it and keep yourself out of harm's way. And it is not because that is where that's where I will land. It is not because the administrators have said that you must keep away ghost towns that you think you can foolhardily face and confront a ghost that you don't know. Our securities are in our hands. Keep away from the danger that you don't know and whose might you cannot appreciate and you cannot evaluate. It is a difficult situation. I think that to end, our prayers still go to the people of Nkambe, that they should take heart. But again, as long as we refuse to do the needful, there will be Ngabu too, there will be Mafe too, there will be Nkambe too, there will be Guzang too, there will be support too. We shall still have this crisis, these atrocities, as long as this bedeviled philosophy that we have does not change. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would have loved to give words or the mic to all the other panelists, Mr. Cyril and Mr. Musa here, but of course we are fighting against time, and we are hoping to catch up with you some other time. Thank you so much for following the program. The program has been amazing with all your amazing contributions which garnished the show. High Prime is going to be up next with Larry Etsengeneng, and do not forget, Matters appears on your screens every 6 p.m. for Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, with Wednesday being the exception. See you some other time, and thank you so much for being in my company tonight. I have been Mabel Camden, thanking you for watching.